triumph in the trap.
This is for the Doubs.
Do you believe in miracles?
Ay, I play chess, but only in 4D. I'm by myself, but they think I'm 4D. When they see me online, they think they know me. Go ahead, like and subscribe, you gotta show me. I applied pressure and they tried to reject it. Clearly ain't see I was a diamond, so they didn't accept it. Told me I was a failure, so I said F it. Might even start my own school and teach them a lesson. Yeah, I'ma call it South Harmon. Fly down south and get the South poppin'. One day I'ma give you a walkthrough and introduce you to this warp tool. I know you lost, that's just dynasty talk. Cause you can't start no franchise without no dynasty chart. I took a break from the game, they throw my dynasty stop. Till I came back like Wembanyama, I feel like Coach Pop. I can't say that I'm the GOAT, cause you ain't gonna agree. But if I own my own farm, I can make the GOAT. Me, the ladies love the beard and they used to love the goatee. That's when I was a lamb, burning music on CDs. I wasn't born in 88, December 87, that was 16 days away. Might fly to Dallas, why not? I just got paid today. When I land this dirt statue, I came to fade away. Check the timeline for the stories and the play-by-play. My life a Patreon link, you gotta pay to play. I work 16 hours, boy, that's an 8 and 8. X Factor like Dez Bryant, my boy 88. Why dream light when you living like a heavyweight? This ain't a 1 week thing, we grind like every day. They know my destination, Devi, like I hang with Ray. If they ain't know my name, I bet they know my name today. Treat this mic like an ATM, let's make a trade today. Drop this on Fizzle Friday, cause that's my favorite day. And I'm gonna do it my way, cause that's my favorite way. They tried to put me on the shelf like I'm layaway. Told me it ain't no way, so I made a way. Welcome to South Harmon, I'm glad you here today. Welcome to South Harmon, I'm glad you here today. I'm glad you here today. Welcome to South Harmon, I'm glad you here today. I'm glad you here today. Hit that Patreon link if you here to stay, Treat this mic like an ATM, let's make a trade today.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back into another edition of the Dynasty Trade Show. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate you. Just a reminder, if you'd like your deals featured, patreon.com/South Harmon. $5 tier gets you access to the trade show where you get to drop all the dynamite that you're doing on your leagues. And just an announcement to make sure that people are aware, go check out at South Harmon FF, run by the one and only Fizzle Dollars. Does such a great job with their social media, not just letting you know where we're at, what we're doing, but posting questions, videos, dynamite. He's doing a fantastic job. But other than that, Adam, it's trade show, baby. What do we got this week?
Well, we start off with one of our own. I'm going to give you a little bit of a hint here. We're going to start off with 3 of our own, all right? Blitz pulled the trades, but Blitz, there was a couple last-minuters. When you listen to America's Game, you already have earlier this week. You saw that those happened on the show, 2 of them.
Yeah.
One including Mike and myself making a deal, so we had to put them on the trade show. It's only right. So those are included. Before we kick to that, if you could go down, hit the like, comment, subscribe for us for the algorithm. Honestly, it's one of the best ways to get in touch with us. Mike and I were just talking before we record. If you really got a question, a burning question you'd answered, we can't say no to the comments. So there's your chance, buddy. Go put it in there.
Try to answer them all.
We always get to them. One of us will get to them. Outside of that, if you do want to check out not just the South Harmon FF Twitter feed, which Fizzle is doing a great job running, make sure you check out southharmonff.com. Over there, we got the Warp Tool, got a bunch of things great on our website. Mike's got slides for you if you're into that, But before we, get too crazy and off the rails here, let's get into the first trade, Mike. This trade was in my inbox, and I almost couldn't believe it. So let's talk about it. Unfortunately, Mike, we got an injury that's very disheartening for Nick Chubb on the Monday night game. Brutal injury, right? Direct shot to the knee, and he's got multiple surgeries going to have to undergo. Because he's already had extensive knee surgeries before, he's starting to get a little up there in age for the running back position. Like, it's one of those that sucks because you're thinking, we talk about all the time, we'll send any first for Chubb. Or not any first, but on a contender, you'll send a first for Chubb. Like, I'm ready to go contend if I need him, right?
Yeah. Yep.
You go from that type of a value to now, Mike, where it's almost the polar opposite. Like, I'm at a fire sale just hoping to get, some coins tossed in my bucket here. And I hate Khalil Herbert. I don't actually hate the person. I'm not a Khalil Herbert fan, the player. And in best ball, I'm just kind of like, I'm meh, whatever. Like, it's Khalil Herbert. But, Mike, honestly, for this, I feel like I had to take it just because I don't think Nick Chubb, obviously on a contender, which this team is a balls-to-the-wall contender. I'll be honest with you, this team is one of the best assembled teams I've ever put together. And it sucks to have Chubb go down, but I'd rather have someone that gives me a shot at running back than a guy that's a zero burger for the rest of the year.
I'm with you. If I've got the choice here, there won't be very many places I'm stashing Nick Chubb if I don't have to. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm not forced. On best ball, if I had him in the first place, I'm a contender at him. I sure as hope that I wasn't holding on to him as a rebuilder, hoping I can extract max value out of him because those days are done. So best ball, anything. Just give me anything. Even a Khalil Herbert. Right. And to be completely honest, I'll go even shittier at running back. Like, I'll go even farther down from where I rank Khalil Herbert.
Where would you go? Give me basement dollar.
Tony Jones.
Ooh. So literally a fab pickup this week. For heavy fab pickup this week, right? You're going that way. So let me ask you then. So someone sends you $40 for your Nick Chubb, you just taking it?
Gone. See ya. I'm gonna try.
That's so hard to say, but that's probably true for me too. Gosh,
I'm trying for a third everywhere, but if I can't get it, that's what it is. Lineup. I mean, if you want to take the shot, because sometimes some of these leagues got 5, 10 IR spots or whatever. Like, if you can realistically just stash them on IR, and that's what you want to do, fine. I'm not going to argue with you. I think you're probably better served trying to get a third or trying to get another, running back on a 53 who's got a realistic shot in a lineup league as a contender. But I'm not going to sit here and argue with you. Best ball, I don't want to house them. I don't. On a rebuilding best ball team, Adam, would you take a shot? On him having some value and being a usable piece in a year or two?
Well, what's interesting now? I wanted to talk about this from two lenses. And one, in this shit league, you tell me what you think, Mike. But, I mean, my team is pretty juggernauted. It's a very, I think, polar opposite league where there's a couple, goon squads, and then it's very, rebuild-driven for a couple teams.
Yeah.
So if you're in that boat in this market, I think, honestly, this might be a little rich for me, but the idea of going to take a swing on Chubb and hoping for a value gain to trade out of later, or hoping that he's just, Superman. I can understand it a little more given that format on the rebuild where you maybe don't have the chance to go get a lot of these picks are picked over. What are you going to do?
Right. Where are you getting it from?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's my point.
They're already loaded up on people's teams. Directions have been picked for a while, right? There's a lot of really strong contenders at the top, and by a lot, I mean if you've got 3 teams that you're going, holy shit, these guys are good.
And in best ball, those are teams that are very hard to beat, right? Because they're just top to bottom stacked.
The variance isn't there like it is with lineup league, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's variance because it's inevitably fantasy football, but it's not like it is with lineup leagues where you get hit with double variance, right? Not only you got to fight off injuries and bad play, but you got to fight off, bad lineup decisions and being a bad manager on who you start on a weekly basis. So,
yep. I think also too, Mike, I wanted to talk about my acquisition of Nick Chubb. It felt like was theft, and I'll ask you this now. Given that this Nick Chubb injury happens, Mike, I don't know if you remember this on draft day with all the pick hoarding I had. I got Aaron Jones and Nick Chubb for four of the early thirds and a 4th round pick. So now, all of a sudden, and I still I'd probably trade 3 thirds or 4 thirds for Aaron Jones, but I remember one of them ended up being Sean Tucker. So all of a sudden, that trade that looked crazy bad, isn't really as holy shit home run, because I'm taking a single third for Nick Chubb right now if I could, right? That's what happens sometimes with injuries. It's just the way it goes.
Looked absolutely god awful then. It still looks god awful now.
It's not as god awful. That's, I guess, the best way I'm trying to put it.
I'll drop the adjective.
There you go.
I'll drop the adjective.
It's just awful.
Yeah,
all right.
there you go.
So let's talk about this one now, Mike.
Look at this.
2 trades that we popped off on America's Game in a discussion. I'll be honest with you. I didn't fat finger it, but you sent me the offers, and I should have looked over my teams a little more. I wanted to make 1 trade for it, but I ended up making 2. So both of these, Mike, are 12-team Superflex PPR Best Ball Start 12s, Arkham and Rusty Tromboners. If you like Rusty Tromboners, you
This is going to be the only fantasy football podcast ever you're going to see the words Arkham Asylum and Rusty Tromboners on the screen at the same time. I guarantee.
I freaking love it, man. I love it. 2 of my favorite league names that we have. But so we made these trades. I was looking over my team in the Arkham Asylum. That was the trade I took second, and I'm just like, man, Mike, in Arkham, it was the league I actually got the Affinity Stones. I basically just set out to do it. I got all 12 draft picks, made some trades and stuff, and my team is starting to shape towards a contender, but it's still not ready to be a contender yet. Or I still have a lot of people I'm trying to get off of. I need to get off of some of rebuilding assets and more into a contending piece. Like, that's what my goal is on this team. Yeah. And when I kind of looked over it, I was like, man, this is the league I wish I would have done the trade in. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, with this team, it's totally risk with Puka Nacua, but I wanted to do it there because for Quentin Johnson, I still feel like I might be waiting for a while, and I'm looking to actually get out of the waiting period and more into contending pieces. So let's talk about the trade for everyone on podcast. This is Quentin Johnson straight up for Puka Nacua. I am receiving Puka on both sides. Mike is receiving Quentin Johnson. Mike had 5 shares of Puka Nacua, and he's on America's Game saying, let me go shop. And he's looking for Quentin Johnson 1 for 1. When we were talking about how that might be a trade you can get done. And, of course, since he plays in a lot of leagues with me, 3 of those 5 were mine. So
the first 3 that I look at.
Good luck, buddy.
If I got to number 4 and 5, all 5 for 5 where I got Puka and you got QJ, I know something's up.
Yep.
What's going on here?
So, I was making case, and with Puka Nacua, I think it's an. I don't even know. Interesting doesn't do it justice. It is it's almost like the Dos Equis thing. I mean, right now, at least for me, I don't know if this is a good thing, but he's the most interesting man in the world. This is 35 targets in 2 games. He's on pace in only a 16-game season for 280 targets. I was making the case that Anquan Bolden is only the only target earner that was outlandish, really, because Garrett Wilson was really good, but he had an extra game. 165 targets for his career, or for his rookie season, and to start his career. And Puka's set to smash that. Now, you have Cooper Kupp at some point slated to come back, take away some targets, but Puka Nacua is, for people that think he's just replacing Cooper Kupp, he's playing in this Robert Woods role, and I think that there's a case where Cooper Kupp's obviously going to come back and maybe be the alpha, but you could see maybe Puka going from 15 or 20 targets, which he earned in the first game and second game, to 8 or 10, and it wouldn't be crazy. So he is, at this point, I think, the most interesting, the most polarizing asset out there, because he's going from a 4th-round pick, and let's talk about it for these. Mike, you got both of these shares for nothing. And when I say nothing, I mean literally nothing. You got them off the waiver wire for $0 because we did pre-NFL drafts. I got one Quentin Johnson share at the 202 in a pre-NFL draft and the other one at 109. So I'll kick it over to you. I just think that with Puka, I'm not even making the case telling you that he's going to be this superstar stud. I just think what we have to do is start treating him as something totally different than anything we've ever seen before, because that's what he is. And sometimes the process is hard when we're trying to compare processes with guys that, this guy doesn't really fit the boxes of some of those with what he's done in the first 2 games. So anyway, your thoughts on the trade?
You know me, I'm just a big one too. I'll take profit. Okay, if I'm getting a profit, I take profit. And like you said, these cost nothing for a lot of people. Maybe they cost a 4th, or maybe they cost a 5th at best, right? But Puka Nacua didn't cost you a whole lot whenever the hell you got him. Mm-hmm. Before now, right? QJ did. QJ did. Would I prefer the liquidity of just a random first if I was going to sell Puka? Yes. But in the same sense, that's, are you trading your first for Puka, Adam? Like,
No.
or are you going, yeah, same thing. So I get it. This is also kind of like a portfolio thing. If I got 5 shares, let me see if I can move a few of them, right?
And that was where they kind of fit well because, like, I had 1 share before this, and I had a lot of leagues. So this gets me up to 3 shares. It's not like I'm heavily exposed. And I had plenty of Quentin Johnson. I mean, he was constantly a guy I was getting from 109 you saw to 212, or 202, sorry.
202, yep.
Yeah, not 212. But, in that range where people just were kind of fading him, either helmet scouting or whatever, and I'm like, nah, he's going too far. I'll take him here.
I think I do it just because it's the process, and I'm going, okay. Like, I'm not panicked on QJ. I know a lot of people look at it and they be like, holy shit, but I've also seen rookie wide receivers start slow for 4 or 5 games and then turn it on. Like, it happens. It happens. Are there some things concerning? Yeah, I can acknowledge them. The fact Josh Palmer's playing so much over him, like, that's concerning, right? But he also has 2 aging veteran wide receivers also in front of him who aren't the models of health. So could this situation drastically change in a few weeks? Yeah, you just saw with the Nick Chubb thing. Did we think we were going to lose Nick Chubb for an entire year? No. Like, bad shit happens in fantasy. The only caveat I'll have, Adam, is you talked about how good it was for you in Arkham. Like, that would have been the league because you wanted to get into some, like, let's produce now pieces and actually start to put some points on the field. Hindsight, after you made the deal, I'm doing process and I'm looking it over and I'm going, oh shit, like, I'm undefeated in the number 1 team in this league by a long shot. Like,
Puka's probably helping that too, right?
Puka's the one putting fucking fantasy points on the field, and I just went to something that I'm gonna have to wait a little bit on, before he actually starts scoring points. So only regret I have about that one. I looked at that one. Rusty tromboners, who gives a shit? Like, that's a I was just building up draft capital. I don't have my first, so yeah, I'm probably a bottom tier team in that league anyway. So
right,
it is what it is.
Yep,
we just do the process and move on.
Yep, I think too. I'll be honest with you. This is going to be like I've thought about this for we do the Sunday recap, and it's like a lot of times on Sunday recap I'm kind of stuck still in my priors because we just watched a whole bunch of football games and I'm still just in my mindset, and then you get a couple days to digest and think. And
you got to process stuff, right? Yep.
And I'm thinking like, man, you know what, dude? Like, I'll miss, and I'm going to continue to miss. But the one thing I've been trying to get myself to do, and it's the hardest thing for me to do, Mike, because I'm so process-oriented, and I believe my processes are so right that sometimes I get a little blinded by my tunnel vision. And one of the things I've been trying to do is, like, take a realistic let's take 5 steps back and really see the whole picture and be like, man, like, Puka is probably going to be one of the most interesting, even if he flops, like, even if he totally doesn't, let's say he goes to not having, like, Cooper Kupp comes back, he's not even getting double-digit targets ever again. He's still going to be the most interesting story, I think, of the entire year. Yeah.
Yep.
Like, if that's the case, and I can grab him for Quentin Johnson, I'm going to do it a couple times. And I'm not like, this is not all my Quentin Johnson shares. I'm not going balls to the wall on Puka, right? But I'm like, let me get a little of this because it's getting crazy. But what if it's a Brock Purdy story? What if it's even higher? What if it's like Puka Nacua is like legitimately getting double-digit targets weekly? I mean, shit, I don't even know what that looks like. I have no idea. So I'm just like thinking to myself, how do I get a little piece of this pie without overdoing my exposure? Because I didn't have much exposure, and I still think this is going to be one of the most interesting stories of the season for the whole year.
What if he's on this Amon-Ra career path? Now, Amon-Ra started with a little bit more love than Puka did, but still look where Amon-Ra is right now. And I think a lot of people just are seeing the sheer target numbers. And Puka's already started to elevate himself far more than what Amon-Ra did, even at the end of the season, his rookie year run, where he put up those games. So, we obviously know where Amon-Ra is right now, pushing for Dynasty wide receiver 3, if not already there, depending on what site you look at or who you listen to. So, crazy.
It's funny because I think right now I'm looking at, and unless there's a serious fallout where the targets go completely away, which I think targets are earned. I have a hard time believing someone goes from 15 to 20 targets to nothing again. But unless that happens, I think the scenario is where he's the Amon-Ra, what you're talking about is in play, but there's also more of maybe a lukewarm type thing, like a Deontay type thing, right? He gets a ton of targets. He doesn't get the big love, but this guy is a little bit of a sneaky value in Dynasty too.
Could be.
Yep.
Interesting to see. We got something to bookmark. Come back later.
But this is definitely a bookmark worthy trade. So, all right, Mike. Let's get into the one that we were going to start the show off with.
Yeah.
You and Jonesy, Expo League. We made this before the Expo of last year, 2022. This is your QB hoard, right? For those of you that want to fight the hoard, Mike did a quarterback hoard in the spring of 22, and he got the first domino to fall in September of 23. All right?
Finally.
So for those doing the math, you got to start using past your hands and toes. Get a calc out. A lot of time. So Mike, let me just kick it to you here. You're getting JSN a third, another third, a second, as well as Jared Goff and Ty Chandler are going away from you. So you're trading away Jared Goff, Ty Chandler, getting back JSN 2/3 and a second. I'm gonna clue people in too. You pulled the ATM on Jones here. Got an extra third greased in there. So walk us through what happened, man.
That dirty move, right? Just killing trade
You're
partners forever.
You're ruining your bridges, man. You're burning all of them.
Right. Yeah, like you said, I started this QB hoard in the startup. I think I went 10 in a row, 11 in a row. But it's everybody's worst nightmare when they talk about QB hoard, right? Yeah. Good. I think it's everybody's worst nightmare when they talk about the QB hoard, right? Like the downfall. What happens if 11 other people won't trade with you? Well, they didn't for a whole year. They didn't. I didn't make any quarterback trades. I had the values I want. And nobody wanted to pay it. I remember shout out to Matty Double Tap, Matty Kiwoom, right? He was trying to get like Derek Carr for like a third at one point. Get out of here. Not gonna happen.
Leave this place.
Yeah, get out. You're in the wrong spot. And then you kind of saw it, like who ended up winning the league? The one guy with 3 quarterbacks, right? Everybody else only had maybe 1, 2 if they were lucky, but they're all poopy, all of them. I get the first overall pick, right? Because my team's so bad. All quarterbacks, nothing else. You start to add some pieces to it with draft capital. And then we start off this year, and some people aren't scoring what they were, right? People are built as super contenders, but they only have 1 quarterback. And what do you need? You need 2, especially in best ball leagues. So first domino comes asking for Jared Goff, and the offer actually got sent to me. It was Jared Goff and Ty Chandler, just like this, and one of the thirds, the second in JSN. And I pulled the ATM. I even sent it to you, and I go, should I try it? And you said, yeah, do it. So make a completely new deal with the exact same pieces and just ask for a third. And if that new one that you send gets declined or whatever, you just have your finger ready to accept the first one, the initial offer. So first domino, it'd be interesting to see if, like we talked about on the QB hoard, if this kind of triggers some other dominoes to fall. Any other contenders in the league now when Jones is out here just smoking the shit out of them with his old crusty vet team that now actually has a number of quarterback options and making sure that Superflex is getting about 20, 25 points plus every single week. Right. We'll see if anybody else wants to jump in the ring and compete. And if you want to jump in the ring and compete with quarterbacks, there's only one person to come see. I'm still holding all the chips, baby.
Yep.
Including – I think I got Anthony Richardson in the draft, right? Like, just what else to add to a QB hoard, but some ARich as well.
Absolutely, man. You get the ARich in there. I think, Mike, this is the perfect. This is why I said the ATM, because listen, if you're not gonna get that extra third, I'm not killing this deal over that, right? Like, right. You are absolutely taking a JSN for Goff, like just straight up, like you would take that on a quarterback hoard, right? That's, and a lot of times we want to tax, but in that, if you have a quarterback hoard of where you're going, like you're also looking to get that first deal done, and JSN is a piece for Goff where you're like, yeah, I'll take that. Okay, we can start with this. So then you get rid of Chandler, and you're getting a second and a third. Like, I see actually no problems with this deal, but you got the quarterback hoard going, man. Like, see if you can squeeze an extra third out, and sure enough, you got it done. I think this is the big thing. When you have that quarterback hoard going and someone's finally willing to come pay the price, when they realize this league will not continue the way I want it to without acquiring a quarterback, and they come to you and they pay whatever they have to pay, that kicks the ball for you, and then also you're able to kind of control the asset you get in return. This is a win, man. This is just straight up a win. I think it's a win for a lot of reasons, not just what you get in return, but for setting the price, setting the bar of what it costs, and now other managers may be having to chase the fact that Jones is pushing more picks in, and now has a quarterback room that's a little different than the rest, and it changes the dynamics of the league, and it changes the dynamics of your future trades. So I'd like the first 3 trades that we started with. I know we're going to get into everybody's trades now, but I thought they all meant something different, right? Nick Chubb,
A little bit. Yep.
As much as you hate the injury that happens to him, actionable advice. I mean, you may not get a Khalil Herbert offer, but the point is, like, he's got to go. Like, he's got to go, especially on best ball teams, and line up unless you really can get nothing else and you're just going to stash him on the IR. Like, it's a piece that has to go as much as it sucks, right? The second trade is not necessarily sticking to your priors, and obviously looking at your portfolio. Like, what are we doing with Puka Nacua? That all 3 of those points. This one here is, if you're in the quarterback hoard and you're not sure how to get out, or you don't know how to implement it, this is how to do it. And if you want to fight it, fine.
Patience,
my friend.
Wax on.
Patience.
Wax off.
I love it when, like, in the shit league, the OG shit league, I get to flip them all in the startup, but it may not happen for you, and you got to be prepared to embrace the lifestyle. So let's get into the first patron deal. Oh man, we got a thumbnail. We got officially a thumbnail.
We got a Puka Nacua.
Puka Nacua thumbnail. Let's go. All right, Mike. Roschon Johnson and Jahan Dotson for a 25-second. And Puka, this is interesting. On America's Game, we recorded just before this. I asked 1 for 1. Would you take Dotson or Puka? Your answer was Dotson. Now it's a 25-second and Roschon Johnson. Does that change it for you at all? Do you want the Puka on a second side, or do you want Dotson and a Roschon here?
I'll take Dotson over Puka, right? But it's a hell of a lot closer, right?
Yeah.
It's a hell of a lot closer.
It's a close discussion. I'm with you.
Yeah, very close. Roschon on our 25-second lineup, start 10. I think I'd actually be willing to take the Roschon part of that deal. Like, I think I'm willing to risk it. Just, oh, man. The problem is we're talking about a start 10, and, like, even though I like Jahan Dotson, at least long term, if we're talking about a contender right now, Adam, in a start 10, who would you rather have on a contending team, Puka or Jahan Dotson?
Puka
in a start 10. Yeah. Right, because you know you're starting them every single week until you get told otherwise.
Yeah, until he, falls off the face of the earth, or Cooper Kupp comes back and crushes it. Like, even the week that Cooper Kupp comes back, Mike, I'm playing Puka Nacua.
Oh, this is tough. This is a close-ass deal for me. I'm going to go, though, with the Puka in the 25-second side.
Oh, this is so good to hear.
I think the format with the start 10, like, I'm assuming you're making this move as a contender. I'm okay, getting rid of Roschon for 25-second, even on a contender, because I can then use that second to go try to get something else.
See, I think this is where, like, this is 4D chess when you talk about the format, in my opinion. And let me explain exactly why I say that. Because what do we know about, like, the strategy and the roster construction behind really how to smash leagues in a lineup start 9 or start 10, right? The formula
hammers
that we're playing, right, is not, it's hammers, but it's also like, I want to stack my value at the quarterback spots and the wide receiver spots. Now, Puka Nacua is not a long-term solidified asset at receiver, right? So that's why you're correct. And but that's also why you're able to trade Dotson for Puka straight up, right? Because people associate draft capital and projecting the future into Dotson. And Puka is this rising asset that you don't. But here's the thing. Realistically, what we're trying to do is stack, whether it's Tyreek Hill or Cooper Kupp or whatever your flavor is, those hammers there. Until, like, proven otherwise for me, Puka Nacua is an absolute start every single week. And I could even make the case, Mike, Cooper Kupp coming back could end up helping Puka in the fact that maybe his target volume comes down, but, like, you realize teams are going to be swarming this guy, right? Like, this young kid coming out and getting all these targets, what do you think teams are going to start doing? So I'm basically, not only am I getting the better asset and points per game at receiver, but I think the 4D chess move is, Mike, Roschon has a little bit of value, and there's also this Khalil Herbert stink, and, like, Roschon has looked good with his touches, although his snap share is really low, so people are kind of waiting and hoping when he takes over. So I'm with you. Like, I want to take Roschon over the second, but I think in this format, the second being liquidity is actually probably the play, because now let's say, like, I kind of have to wait on Roschon's opportunity to arise, which I don't know when that is. This second, Mike, I can go buy Kyron right now if I wanted to, possibly, right? I could go buy, if Jerome Ford ends up keeping the backfield, or if Kareem Hunt, like, you can go decide when you need it and who you want with a second, versus Roschon's more of a stuck asset. Not that I don't love the talent of Roschon. When Roschon, if he was to take over the backfield, wouldn't be like, holy shit, you're going to need more in a second. To me, it's that I can spend that second whenever I want to on that Puka side that really even sways me more on that side.
I like it too, because I use try to knock my mic out right there.
I was going to say, his mic is mad. He's trying to kill it.
Try to kill it. Using Sleep here on our website, southharmonff.com, the manager, so I'm able to kind of look at teams and figure out exactly what's going on. And then the league simulator, these are the number 1 and 2 teams, right? And Japper playing a little 4D chess here by taking away Puka Nacua from the guy who's in the first place, like competing with him. Like, it's these two dudes and
that's
not
interesting.
A whole lot of
That's really interesting.
Like, you kind of playing it with good luck. You can try to figure out if you want to start Roschon or not. But then the thing I really like is Puka would have been in this dude's lineup, right? Guaranteed, locked in. Now, he's got really good receivers. You're starting Justin Jefferson. You're starting A.J. Brown, correct?
Yeah.
When you get down to 3 and 4, though, in a start 10 at him, like in these flex spots, he's looking at Jerry Jeudy or Drake London, and now John Dotson.
Yeah, that's
but
that's
Puka
where Puka was almost a perfect like stopgap, right? Like, even if you project him not to be great long term, he's helping let these guys have some more time before you have to rely on Drake London weekly, right?
Yeah. So I kind of like that move too, where you just pull him off his team because you're going to lock him into your lineup, and it takes him out of him. Now you got to make some lineup decisions on Drake London, Jahan Dotson, Jerry Jeudy every single week. Like, that's going to be the questions we get asked on start sit. Like, you're going to list those 3 off and go sit one. Shit.
Yeah, tough
matchup. Hotness. That's where it comes into play. Where it was Puka on the run he's been on. At least for now, we don't know how that's going to be when a Cup comes back. But
yes,
at least for now, like, you knew that was a locked-in starter every single week. There's no reason to bench him ever.
Man, this is a juicy trade show start. We got this team and you trading away Puka when you have like a really good start to the year, which I bet you that isn't happening all that often, right? Teams that are like really winning and that they feel like they got this Puka share. They're like, I want to part with that. That's interesting. I love the start of this trade show. Let's see if we can continue with some good ones. All right. Ooh, I saw this one go down. This is in our league. Zach and Stinzy, man. B-Rob, not the old. I almost don't want to call him that. I can't do it to him. Bijan Robinson.
Yeah.
Or Jamar Chase and a third. 12-team Superflex. It's full PPR. Now, the kicker is it is a 0.25 points per carry. It's best ball, start 12 offense and 13 defense. So the other thing to keep in mind is 25 players start weekly in a best ball. Understand, what do we have, 69 spots? Is it, how many spots is it?
Yeah, there's a lot. I think it might be 69 because I'm,
the number.
I'm a child at heart.
Right. All I know is this draft
was
a draft before we made it happen. We're like, you're going to need to carve out an insane amount of time because we're going to be drafting for a while.
Right.
It was right after Christmas holidays we started it. So anyway, Mike, with this trade, all the dynamics in there, does that matter at all to you? Where are you at on this trade?
I would say you could have a conversation about Chase and Brian see, I did it to him. Sorry, Bijan Robinson. Brian Robinson's been playing so damn good. I'm on record here. Somebody's going to clip this shit. It's just going to be me on repeat talking about Brian Robinson playing good. Brian Robinson has been playing damn good. I'm sorry. And I've been talking a lot of apology tour here lately.
He's been apologetic.
Bijan Robinson and Jamar Chase. Bijan's playing phenomenal as well. Jamar Chase is not. Okay?
Right. Bijan looks great too, by the way. Like, we expected this, but he looks great.
I would say that you can make an argument about their value, one for one, or who you would take, especially right now.
Is it especially with the points per carry part too, or is it just in general?
Yeah, especially with the points per carry. I bet if you look up the WARP, like, the running back's probably got a little bit of advantage over the wide receiver, but Chase is that not playing running back, which almost makes you a more safe asset just right off the jump. So that's where a lot of this conversation comes into place.
Well, let's bring it in, by the way. So here it is.
Look at this. Look at this clusterfuck.
This clusterfuck, and this is my bad. I should have told Bliss to pull the defense off, but you have to look. It's a little tough to find, but the running back line is this blue one here, right? I'm sorry, blue. It's green, but staying here above the receivers, and it starts above them, but Mike, they honestly kind of hover around each other all the way to about 18, and then the wide receiver takes over. So,
well, it's one of the things about the league settings too. Like we talk about how many people you're starting as well, but it's one of the best jobs I've ever done on making a league that was balanced from like top to bottom, right? Where a quarterback scores shit ton, but you have so many starters, so that negates it, right? Running backs get points per carry. Wide receivers don't score that much, but it's a best ball, but you have to have 4 wide receivers every single week, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, there's some real fucking shitters that are making your lineup with these deep settings that I know because I got the shittiest offense in the entire league by far. Find me one shittier. Can't do it.
Right.
And then these defensive hammers, like some of these guys are just absolute units. Like you see the warp chart here with the linebacker, that dude just being the outlier way the hell up there.
I mean, you're looking at over 0.5 the warp versus like everyone else is in the 0.2 to 0.4. The other thing you notice really makes it crazy is the highest is 0.5. Like to show you the margins are so tight on these players.
Yeah. So back to the original point, I think you could argue Bijan or Chase, right? I think that's the part where you lose me at, and this is me. I also give Zach shit because he makes a lot of trades with Stinzy in just a few leagues that we have together. Right. I call Stinzy Zach's farm team, but Stinzy got one over on him here. 3rd round pick. To most people, that's fucking negligible, Adam. Like, who gives a shit? Okay.
But the reason it's different is because all these IDP spots makes that more of a 2nd-round pick in value.
And all these high-scoring IDP spots, when you draft rookies, pushes a lot of these dudes up. You know, we had Will Anderson in there. You had Jack Campbell. You had Jalen Carter. You know, these guys are first-round picks because they score so damn much.
Right.
Just for example, this is one of the only leagues we couldn't do a pre-NFL rookie draft because it's IDP, and we don't have all the IDP players in the system, so we can't do it. So this was post-NFL draft. 3rd round, Adam. A-Chain, Kendre Miller, Zach Charbonnet, Jonathan Mingo, Tajay Spears. Roschon was in the 4th. Jalen Hyatt, Luke Musgrave, Tank Bigsby, Jaden Reed, like Josh Downs. All these dudes are in the 4th round. Marvin Mims was the 4-12.
Right.
In a best ball league.
And that's that's the point I'm making is a 3rd round pick is a 2nd round value given the defensive influx of everything is what I'm trying to make.
Yep, easily.
And I don't mean that as only an early one, right? Because to your point, at the 4-12, you got Marvin Mims. You got, was it Tank or Roschon in the 4th round?
You had Tank at the 4-4, Roschon also at the 4-1.
Both of those guys are in the 4th. So understand, right? You're giving up. It's not. I think this is the problem for me, and to the point you're making. Like, a lot of times I'll tell you in a deal of this magnitude, the 3rd doesn't matter enough, and I'd probably stick to that in a regular, even deep best ball. The IDP component of this makes this a much different plus.
Yeah.
Like, and to me, Mike, here's the other problem. Like, you know how much I love running back in Bijan. Like, gosh, I've been excited for Bijan Robinson since everyone knew the name was around. Like 3 years waiting on this kid, right? But, Mike, I still think Jamar Chase is the play long term. If you want to have the conversation, fine.
Yeah.
But for me, I already kind of lean Chase. And then I get Roschon or I get Tank or I get higher than that. Like, you also just get the flexibility of this pick.
Yep.
Like, it makes it to me where I would not do it. But
it'll be interesting to me in that league, too, because we haven't seen anybody really do it yet because everybody's still trying to feel their way out, Adam. But I can tell you right now for a fact, if you're one of these teams that's kind of in the middle ground, you need to be placing a lot more value on these 3rd and 4th and 5th round rookie picks, which we generally just go, fuck it. Like, I don't care. Like, they're really not worth anything. If you're heady enough because of so many starters, the best ball, the defense, the crazy ass scoring that's in this league, which is league specific, which is what the warp tool's for. Like, you'd be that guy out there, I'll sell you this this tight end for a third. And it's a smash deal for you in the end. Like, in a normal league, you go, well, is this tight end really worth a third? If you're the dude getting the third, because you just don't care about your team for this year, hoard those third, fourth, and fifth round rookie picks, right? And people will toss them away on nothing.
Well, and especially when you look at a deal like this, you can kind of see how, like, because there's so many spots, is one of the reasons why I'm glad you brought that in to tie this whole trade up. It's something at 69 just seems fitting because it's just what, the child's play is. But if you think about, like, Mike, at the end of the year, you know how many spots you're going to have available to try to fill?
A lot.
Like, this is one of those leagues where I would probably end up drafting 12 people, 15 people in the third to the sixth round or fifth round, whatever we stop at. Like, it's one of those where it's not just that you're getting value there. Like, even if you told me I had to hold this pick till Kingdom Come and draft it, like, I'm okay. So that's a little edge of, like, I think you'll be able to be doing a lot of trades in the draft point when teams are needing players and they're seeing what type of players are available in the third. Like, imagine, Mike, when you have that pick that you just got for free essentially in a deal like this, if we said it was lateral, that you're trading these two assets laterally, Bijan and Chase. Let's just pretend for a second. You picked up this free third along the way if you're stingy. Now on the clock, all those players that people like are sitting there, and people start sending you offers higher than what that value is because they want to get their share of whatever player. That's the type of thing you can do in this league.
Yeah, definitely a move. I think Stinzy won this one, multiple fronts.
Sorry, Zach. I love you, kid, but I have to agree with Mike here on this, and I'm so much so I'm letting the trades go by, just ruining everything because I can't believe what I just saw. All right, Mike, T-Rock. Holy shit, the Pterodome, Mike. This must be T-Rock's league. 12-team Superflex, half PPR, 0.25 points, tight end premium. I mean, you talk about a tight end premium and it doesn't mean shit. Lineup start 10. Cedric Tillman, Shoddy B, at 24 first. That is not his own, Mike, so I don't know if either one of us wants to decide to pull up the simulator for this.
I got you.
And Zay Flowers is a piece that's being acquired. So Bateman, Tillman, and a 24 first from A. Gassner 08 sent away to Brad O'Brien, and T-Rock is the person acquiring Zay Flowers. Mike, league format, half PPR, lineup start 10, and the cost of acquisition. What is the first, and what's your assessment on the trade?
So just with no context while this loads here, Bateman, Cedric Tillman, lineup start 10, who really gives a shit? I mean, Bateman's kind of a nice story if you still want to hold on to it, but hasn't been good start to the season, right? A lot of the same shit we already saw.
Not at all. It's been really bad, actually.
I'm good. And for reference, that first is late, right? Number 2 team projected in the league right now.
Okay. So, really, Mike, I mean, you tell me that. Like
some junk in 2 pieces for that don't really matter in a lineup start 10 anyways. For Zay Flowers, I'll take the Zay Flowers side. I think T-Rock did a good job of getting one over on Bernard here.
I'll tell you this much. This is one of these, Mike, where there's a couple things about this trade I do want to discuss. Now, it's kind of convoluted, but I just want to walk through. I think the way he got the asset he wants is a win. So let me just start by that point. Like, Zay Flowers is the asset I think we all want here. I think the way he got it was smart. You get off of Bateman, you're kind of assessing and saying, listen, Tillman's a young guy with enough draft capital, he might matter, but he's probably a roster clogger in this league. Bateman, as much as we love him and we've held on this hope, like, it's to the point where it's right. Time to move on. And you add this late first, so you get Zay. Now, I like the way he constructed this deal, and I'll give him props that was well done. The one thing, and Mike, I'm not here to hate on Zay. I actually like him. I've tried to acquire him in spots. He's tough to acquire, so acquiring him for this I like. The one thing I will say is, last week the targets came down. He still had 5. I think he still looks very good. I think he's still going to be a focal point in this offense. But, like, right now, if I'm doing this type of a trade, typically for me, this is going to be on a contender, and I'd almost rather see if I could get a different asset than Zay Flowers, if that makes sense. Because it's not that I don't like Zay Flowers. again, this is one of those where if I'm going to chase him, spend first and get rid of this crap, I'm cool with that. But can I add something better or send a different pick or something to go get a receiver that's more of a warp player on my team than a Zay Flowers? So that's kind of my point, is not even that Zay Flowers is a bad player, not that the trade isn't a good trade for you as far as value goes. Yeah. But if I'm going to make this type of a trade, can I get a different asset than a rookie wide receiver on a team that's probably going to be a little inconsistent throwing the football? That's my point.
What if I told you he's not a contender?
Then
because he's not.
Okay. And that's fine there. But then here's the other question for me, Mike. At that point, I kind of wonder if I want to make the deal. And the reason I say that is Gassner's team looks like that, but is it for sure betting against in lineup start 10? Would I rather keep the liquidity? Like, is it probably going to tread evenly with Zay Flowers? Do I need to make the move right now? Do I need to make this move in week 3? Like, those are the two things about it. I like the way he constructed the deal. I'm all about getting rid of Bateman and Tillman and sending the late first. Either way of this, I think the timing and, like, if I'm rebuilding, the timing of it doesn't make sense. Because here's the thing. That first can't get hurt. Zay Flowers could go out there and get hurt anytime.
Right.
That's out there. And then if I'm contending, I'd rather get a piece a little higher. So those are the 2 points I want to make about the deal in and of itself. But I think the way he got what he I like the way he constructed this deal. But the purchase, I don't necessarily agree with totally.
I feel you. You know, T-Rock's a big Baltimore fan, though, so he's got to rush out and get the hot and shiny toy.
Believe me, I know that. And I've seen this about T-Rock. When there's a young, surging guy like Zay Flowers, it was Rondale years past. This is a guy not Zay. T-Rock likes to go buy those guys right now. So I don't hate the trade. But T-Rock, listen, you're going to write articles on here? You're getting the true ATM assessment. I'm not letting you off the fucking hook. Get the fuck out of here.
Anytime he takes advantage of Bernard, I'm all about it.
Yeah, we've seen enough of that too, right?
Seen enough of that guy.
Whew. Mike, this one's spicy as hell. 12-team Superflex PPR lineup start 10. The Cinema League Dynasty. Wow. Rolling with Mahomes is trading away ARich, Jordan Addison. I'm sorry, trading for ARich, Jordan Addison, a fourth and a 24-second of Koopa's. Koopa's tearing up from ARich to Jalen Hurts. In the process, in a lineup start 10, he's getting rid of his own second. So that's like, a little bit of flip picking liquidity, right? You try that ability to trade that second for something later. And Jordan Addison, who right now probably isn't someone you feel great about starting weekly in lineup start 10, but he's, someone very, very good player and could end up being someone you start weekly. So what's your thoughts on this trade?
Koopa, man after my heart. He's earned it. I'm very good with tearing up in this case, right? Okay. Not that I have anything against ARich, and we'll discuss, what his ceiling could be, trajectories on all that, Adam. But one of the things is Jalen Hurts is already there. If ARich gets to that level, great, massive success. But we use words like if and, can he and ceiling. We don't know. And I'm okay just taking what is the sure thing, right? Nothing's a sure thing in dynasty football, right? Because it's football and people get injured and bad shit happens. It's just the way it is. But I will take the process of the surer thing in Jalen Hurts, and it cost me. I don't give a shit about the force, right? Lineup start 10. I definitely don't get. This is an IDP 101. I don't give a fuck. Yeah,
this fourth is absolutely not a part of the deal.
Nothing. I send a wide receiver, which is a fringe guy for now, in that format, and whether or not I'm starting him every single week for the absolute unit that is Jalen Hurts. Plus, I'm a Hurts fan, so fly Eagles fly. Koopa, great trade.
There you go. All right, at least we did get the acknowledgement of the last piece, because I see a scenario where this trade works out well for both sides. Like, I could see this working out absolutely for the ARich side too. So. Right. Like, what I won't do is absolutely say, hey, this makes a ton of sense. This is a guaranteed win for the Hurts side. Because
true,
I do think that Hurts will not I think he'll improve, right? You got a new offensive coordinator, by the way. Interestingly enough, they're coaching, Anthony Richardson now in this deal, right? So I think that Jalen Hurts is going to improve with this new offense that they're running. I don't think it should be much different than how they ran it, but that's not the point. The point is how it will look, how he'll improve. I think he'll get back to being Jalen Hurts of old, or close to that. But I also, the one thing I want to admit is, like, I don't think, the one thing about Jalen Hurts is I think he's going to be very, very good. And I think he got the bag. Like, there's no way I'm going to take him out of elite territory.
Right.
But, like, he could have also reached a peak, right? He could have absolutely reached a peak. He was very much in QB2 discussion overall. So,
fair.
Like, I think the point is here,
if you were middle of the road, Adam, like if you were kind of the middle of the road, or maybe on the youthful build already, and you had Jalen Hurts as your quarterback, would you take this as a tier down?
Yes.
Minus the force, the junk, like
the essence of the deal. Like, am I tearing down from Jalen Hurts from ARich to get assets that matter? I would do this, even in lineup start 10. Yes.
And
can I tell you why?
I'm with you too, because I could see that side of it, right? If I'm not like competing, I could take this as a tear down. Now it's a little bit risky,
right?
But anytime I can take a tear down where I see one could be equal to the one I'm sending away, plus I get a very good plus like Jordan Addison on top of it, that's a perfect type of tear down to do. Now it's still risky. Don't let me fool you. But if I'm any type of like Koopa and I'm competing, I do the tier up, right?
And that's where, like, I'm not saying that the tier up won't work. By the way, Koopa, I'm not like trying to hate on the deal. I think the difference in ARich and Jalen Hurts could still be realized by the end of the season. It could be where this makes total sense. You only lose Addison in a second. They're not probably hammers for you. The second could end up being probably a spot start you buy as a hammer down the stretch, but
could be.
That's still forecasting a little bit, right? The one thing I will say, though, the reason I part of me wants, in just the vacuum, like taking out the specifics of context, which we have to talk about, the part that really I'm starting to buy in now is, like, and ARich is, not practicing today with the concussion, but I don't think anyone's worried about him long-term with the concussion. His value is starting to get to elite quarterback territory, Mike. So it's also one of these where, like, I'm picking all this stuff up, but I could now maybe trade out for Lamar, or I could trade out for another really good quarterback and pick up more value down the stretch. Like, what if you said you're comfortable tearing down to Tua after this? Like, if I'm rebuilding, I could basically haul in some real assets while staying in a quarterback that I want. So, like, his value of ARich is the thing that's really starting to sway me to that side. Is I think you can now move ARich before you're having to hold him up for all time. The thing is that for Jalen Hurts, this bet is not that expensive if you believe that Jalen Hurts is going to be a top 5 finisher for the year. If you're only sending away Jordan Addison in a second, like, I totally get what you're doing, but it's I think they both come with their risks, and they both absolutely have high-end ceiling home run ability.
The warp chart from last year is pretty staggering too, at least for those upper echelon quarterbacks.
Pull it
like
up,
the
then.
Jalen Hurts, right? This is what, through 2 weeks here that we got. So I'm looking at the one for last year was ridiculously high.
This is last year's, no? Oh, is this is current year's? Okay,
this is current. Yep. We gotta get Blitz on the page, right? The same page.
Mm-hmm. I should have told him to pull up the old ones. Yep, gotcha.
Get Blitz on the same page here, but yeah, last year's was stupid high, and the year before was stupid high for those top 4, top 5 quarterbacks. So maybe that's also something too that's factored in. Kuba is the warp god.
No,
so.
I'm sure. And if Jalen Hurts ascends to the old warp difference maker he was, that's where I'm sure this is going to matter. Lineup start 10 typically, Mike, when you look at the whole totality of the season, unless there's a lot of crazy scoring going on, which this doesn't indicate, it's going to favor those elite quarterbacks. So I understand what Kuba's doing. I honestly don't hate the trade. I think there's also risk on both sides. So I'll lean rolling with Mahomes' value, but I do think that Kuba, because it's a elite quarterback, like if Jalen Hurts ends up being a top 5 QB and ARich does not, this can win you. This type of one trade can win you a league. I think that has to be said.
I'm with you.
All right, let's talk about the next trade. Let's see. 14 team, Superflex PPR, lineup start 9, addicted to fantasy football, addicted to FF, bad mood rising, and M. Bennett 29 making the trade here. Jerry Jeudy, a 24 first, a 25 second, or Garrett Wilson and a 24 third. So, Mike, which side do you want here? Jerry Jeudy, 24 first, 25 seconds, or Garrett Wilson and a 25 third.
Without knowing definitively where that pick is, I'm going to take the Garrett Wilson side. So I know it's down, right? The Aaron Rodgers thing, and people are panicking. But Jerry Jeudy, while I liked him heading into the season, also has some injury concerns and didn't look fantastic in his first game back. So
Right.
without knowing whether or not that pick's early or late or what it is, I'm taking the I'm gonna go ahead and just take the Garrett Wilson side here pretty easily.
Yeah, I think this one will, though, because it's a pick that's not either one of theirs. It will come down to the simulator for me.
Right.
If this is a late first with very good opportunity to be late, I want the Garrett Wilson side. If it's anything that's not that, I get the other side, because if it's mid and it ends up being early, holy shit, buddy! Like, that's the only difference there. Because if it's 106 or 107, even, Mike, I still might by the time that draft rolls around want Garrett Wilson in this trade.
Right. Who do you want, Garrett Wilson or this year's
Brock Bowers
Garrett
and
Wilson.
Jerry Jeudy, right? Or this other receiver, right? I went with you. Now, if it becomes 104, 103, oh boy, this is it's a home run.
Well, the other thing to think about is 14 team, Adam. So there's a possibility this is nothing better than a second. So,
yep.
Who is that from? CC, whatever.
CC Randall 06.
All right, projected third worst team in the league.
I want Bad Mood Rising, which, by the way, Mike, I think he uses the simulator because this is our patron getting that Jerry Jeudy side. I think context will tell me I want that 24 first, man.
Yep.
Because I'll tell you another reason why. Lineup start 9 is still shallow, right? But you add those 2 extra teams, this is going to operate more like a lineup start 10, lineup start 11 because of those 14 teams. Jerry Jeudy, Mike, in that format is someone I will probably end up wanting to play. And then if you get Mike, imagine if this is end up being the third pick. 14 team, you want to know what's so amazing about that third pick? In 14 team, you know what drives this league, right? QBs. And if the QBs drive this trade, or this league, Drake May and Caleb Williams likely are going to be the 1 and 2. But if somehow they're not, it's going to be Marvin Harrison Jr. So give me the better Ohio State receiver or one of the quarterbacks in Jerry Jeudy and a second over Garrett Wilson here. I love this trade for Bad Moon Rising if it's that bad of a team. You're on mute.
Bad Moon's making a hell of a bet here. I love it. That's why I also like Sleeper. So, CC Randall, 14-team league, Adam, lost Aaron Rodgers for the year.
Ooh.
Okay. 14-team Superflex start 9. His starting quarterbacks, the only 2 on his roster, Jordan Love, who's playing well,
Okay.
Ryan Tannehill, who played well last week. That's the bet you're making against it.
I'll make that bet against.
Right. This also a guy who's starting Rashid Shaheed at the wide receiver spot right now, currently, and not a lot of bench depth at all.
Bye weeks are coming. Rashid Shaheed, I mean, listen, I like the story and all, but
Yep.
You're only starting 9 people? You're only starting 9 people, man. Yikes.
Buddy, I'll make that bet, even as much as I kind of be about Jerry Jeudy. Yeah, I'm good.
But can I tell you the poison pill that's even bigger is, okay, you go from Garrett Wilson to Jerry Jeudy. Mike, what happened with Garrett Wilson last week? And as a Zach Wilson fan, probably watching a lot of that game. He caught a long touchdown pass, but if that doesn't go to the crib, there is some panic, man.
Volume ain't there. Yeah.
Right.
I'm good with it. This is kind of the poison pill in the bet against he's not even betting against M. Bennett. So, if I'm M. Bennett, he's number 1 on the simulator. I go, okay. But you got to keep that in the back of your mind.
Can I tell you another?
Actually sending away.
Last point I'll make is the way that we think, the way that we preach and talk about process, is this is also Bad Moon Rising possibly saying, this is not the only pick I have in this repertoire of bag of picks.
Right.
And then you're really talking about something taking off, right? Imagine if you had
Right.
2 of those picks that have a chance to be high. Oh, man, we got ARich messing around and trying to get in the thumbnail too, buddy.
That's going to be a tough choice for you, ain't it?
God damn.
You're
All
like
right,
that meme of that fat kid looking at it, too.
Yeah, I'm out here just, what do I do? What do I do? Do I get them both in there?
No.
Moose Knuckles 44, Mike, and Antho Honcho. So this is shit boredom. This was, a shit league they made. Called it shit, but it's not Mike and I in it. What do you think here, buddy? 2 first or ARich?
This is 99% of the time going to be Anthony Richardson.
I agree. The context will be the key, though, if it swings, correct?
Yeah.
Do you want to run the sim? Are you running it?
I'm running her. It's my league. I made it. Shit boredom. You can tell we were all bored and wanted to do a startup. That's why you call it shit boredom. Actually, it's more just people in the Discord going like, we doing any more startups? Fine, fuck it. Let's go.
I'm kind of curious, Mike, though.
Join, boys. Let's go.
Is there I'm trying to think of how to word this best. Like, is ARich at this point, like, if you just get 2 firsts that are your own, you're going to bet on your team. Like, to me, ARich in that scenario, the only problem with it would be is if your best ball start 11 here, like, your team's just not rostered right. Like, I think 100%. It's worth it unless your team is not rostered the correct way.
And simulator-wise, Anto is bottom part of the league.
That's where it makes it tough.
Right. One team is definitely tanking though. Moose Knuckles by far. Team's god awful. Right.
Okay.
Can't even get a win on the simulator. Like, that's bad.
I love it. So go ahead and get rid of ARich too then. Yep.
So the 101's like locked up. Okay, so you don't have that fear of it being Caleb Williams. So best case scenario, you're hoping Anto finishes 102 and you're getting Drake May or like Marvin Harrison Jr. But Adam, unless it's Drake May, like, I know we love Marvin Harrison Jr., right? And there's this talk about him or Justin Jefferson, and you know how people fucking get. But
sure,
it's a 12-team super flex best ball. Like, Drake May is the only one that could push Anthony Richardson for like supremacy. When nuts are on the line, if we were to redo all this and do it as an auction, Marvin Harrison Jr. ain't going for what fucking Drake May is going to go in it.
That is correct. The auction part of that will make it correct. We see that every single time we do a 12-team Superflex auction is it's the quarterbacks drive it. Now, the one thing, though, that would be interesting, even in an auction, would be Marvin Harrison Jr. and a 25 first or ARich now.
There you go.
That's where display, though, in best ball, because what do we also know in best ball, Mike? It's all about depth. So if you're already saying, because here's the one thing that you can do in a 4D play. If I already know I'm locking in Caleb, can I afford to take either Drake May or take Marvin Harrison Jr. and an additional first because I already have Caleb locked up? So I think that's probably the discussion. Oh, man. The one thing
Let me just look at. I'm looking up Anto Honcho's team right here.
Pull it up.
It's good. It's a good time to show off, South Harmon merch. Let's go.
Oh,
foam
man.
covers.
There it is. Foam covers, baby.
All right. So Watson and ARich now is his quarterback situation.
I like it.
He also has Kyler Murray coming on the bench at some point.
Kyler Murray will be back at some point.
He did lose Aaron Rodgers. He's sitting on his IR.
What's his record? Is it 0-2 or 1-1?
1-3.
Oh, against the median? Okay.
Yeah, third worst in the league right now. But he actually has a decent squad, right? Like, Mark Andrews is sitting on this team. TJ Hawkinson, Mr. A-Warp tight end god himself. Right?
Got a couple
Not bad.
of them, yep.
Ayuk, James Cook, DJ Moore's been underperforming. David Njoku. Little bench step. Cortland Sutton, Allen Lazard, DPJ, KJ Osborne, Charbonnet, Gibson, like that kind of thing. So his picks actually, right now the league simulator is kind of shitting on him. Right now his record looks bad, but Adam, that's a best ball team that I could see turning it around. And I'm not saying it's going to win the whole thing, but you're going to be in the playoff hunt at least. Yeah. So we're not talking about a 102, and if that's the case, then
I would say there's where I'd be willing to take ARich if your team's not really gutted, right? If you have a team more like that, I'm probably okay with it. The one thing on the Moose Knuckle side is you're probably just at this point just accumulating more and more depth and betting against everything else. So I don't hate it for either, but I'll take ARich here, I think.
Let me check out Moose Knuckles' team too, just to see, because how many picks you have, right, is what we're also talking about.
Correct. How big is the hoard?
Not that good. 3 firsts and 24.
Dang.
And 2 firsts and 25.
Okay.
Adam, I don't know if this is like the leverage move that I'm thinking is worth it to do it for. You know what I mean? Like, I'll get a little bit salty to leverage the class, but I'm talking if I can convince, like you did in the original shit league, you can convince 11 other people that they're all going to fucking compete, and then you end up hoarding,
or at least
most,
like,
if not all, the class.
At least like 4 to 6 picks, right? Like, you're going to get like a third or a half of it.
Right. This is tanking just to tank, and you don't really have the leverage that you really want, right?
Unless you can start chipping away at that, I'm kind of with you. Yeah. I want the ARich side here.
You know, if you had like a bunch of those picks where it was like this guy could be like the 103 to 107, but you owned all of those guys as picks, every single one of them, who gives a fuck where that dude ends up finishing, because he's only finishing one spot or once. It makes all my other picks that good.
Exactly.
Like, it doesn't really matter. But this
and you also now have the ability to trade those blocks together as one, which is a totally different leverage deal at the table than one pick. So I'm with you.
This one's a Anto Huncho. Let's go.
All right. Yeah, unless his team ends up getting a bunch of attrition and that becomes an early one, I probably am with you. I want the ARich side. All right. Drew Smitty, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and James Cook are being acquired by Drew Smitty. Biggie sized is getting one Biggie sized workload, 9 carries and -2 yards. Josh Jacobs, DK Metcalf, and a 24 third, Mike. Okay, so the way I'm looking at this is you're getting a tier up from DK to Amon-Ra St. Brown. The difference in James Cook and Josh Jacobs right now is probably more youth than anything. And then the third.
That's crazy to say, ain't it?
I mean, yeah. What is your thoughts here?
Yeah, Amon-Ra over DK. Let's not get crazy hot
by a decent amount, right?
Yeah, it's by a fair amount.
Is it a second?
Yeah, I would say it's at least a second. Yep.
Okay.
I think that's a fair assessment, Adam. And James Cook and Jacobs, I think there's going to be more than a handful of people who's going to want the James Cook over Jacobs side.
Or at least say they're close, right? Yeah.
Me included. Sorry. That offense looks so fucking bad.
I think
man.
I was talking about this a lot this offseason. I think the Josh Jacobs window was last year, and if he didn't sell out, I think that was your window, buddy.
Whoops. Yep, I think it was it. Like, you should have enjoyed that nice RB1 season he gave you, and then you go.
Can I tell you, this is one of those things. One of the things that you constantly learn by doing this more and more, with more leagues and more experience in how the offseason works. Those are type players, right? So let's say you have a Josh Jacobs, and you know, they're just like, I got to have this player. I think he could be better than his value is. At the point before the season last year, it wasn't really worth trading because he didn't carry a bunch of weight, right? He explodes, but you're like, okay, during the year I cannot trade out of this because I'm trying to win. He helps you win. Mike, this is one of those that before the rookie euphoria really sets in, like, you have to be trying your damnedest, everything you can to move him in that point from January, February to about April. Like, that's your window to really get out of that.
I'll say this, at least for Jacobs on this point. To start the season hasn't been great, okay? But he's played 2 really tough defenses in the Bills and the Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
And that Bills game was fucking out of hand. You know, Josh Allen woke up and said, I heard y'all say I stink. Right? Y'all put me in the same category as Dak Prescott. How's this going? Like, hold this. So that game got out of hand, kind of took the Josh Jacobs role out of it. Jimmy Garoppolo, you know, I've never really thought too much of. But Josh Jacobs at least does have a sell window if you don't believe him, or if you are believing him in Josh Jacobs, just know that 2 tough defenses to start. The next 3, not so much. I mean, they get the Steelers this week, and we just watched, you know, what fucking Jerome Ford did to the Steelers defense, and I'll definitely take Josh Jacobs over Jerome Ford any day of the week. But
yeah,
I will say the James Cook-Jacobs thing is at least close, and you could be one side or the other, and if that's the case, then easily give me the Amon-Ra over DK, and you can have the third, too, if you want.
Yeah, I want the Drew Smitty side here pretty easy. I think the one thing, though, with Jacobs is, like, with Jimmy G at the helm, with Aiden O'Connell at the helm, like, I don't project this team to be getting a lot better as far as being an offensive juggernaut. And last year, the offense was actually pretty good, for whatever people want to believe. Like, it was a better scoring team than most people want to give it credit for. And Josh Jacobs was absolutely the beneficiary of that, right?
And then, Derek Carr goes to the Saints, and all of a sudden you're like, man, this Saints offense looks pretty good.
It's not that bad, is it? Maybe Rashid Shaheed's the thing.
Maybe Derek Carr's a decent enough quarterback.
He's always been like above average. He's just I think coaches know they don't feel like they can win with him. So
understandable.
We got Mike blacked out.
Oh, my camera must have just said, forget it.
I love this.
Please connect the video source.
No.
It's telling you, trade show's over.
It's mad.
I'll get this in line here.
All right. I'll cut it out, my bad.
Whole ATM, it was like, it's too hot in here.
And
just
he's
shut
back.
the fuck up.
It fucking was, it got a little hot. It was getting really hot thinking about, like, I hope we're not defending Josh Jacobs. Don't
James
do that,
Cook.
please.
That's what I wanted.
It was cooking. But yeah, I think Jacobs' situation's not going to get that much better. And I think, like, even if there is, like, he's a person I was wanting to get off this offseason and would still like to, if there's any type of ability to, just because I think it's easier to replace a Josh Jacobs this year than it ever was before. Like, I don't think he's going to have this warp difference-making side ever for him. So I want to get out of him, and I'd rather replace him with something different. I want the Amon-Ra St. Brown here. Lineup start 9, Mike. That third is stupidly irrelevant for me.
Yep.
Okay. Total Chaos Rev is receiving CeeDee Lamb and Romeo Doubs, sending away T. Higgins, Amari Cooper, and a 24-second. Oh, this league is a 12-team Superflex PPR lineup start 9. I believe this is a new patron, by the way, too. Mike, what's your thoughts here, buddy? Lineup start 9 is absolutely a hammer one. However, man, like, Romeo Doubs for me is a kind of a not what I care about at all in this league. Nope. Cooper and T. Higgins I do really like, and the second I kind of like. So, like, where are you at here?
I'm going to take the 3 for one side, right? T. Higgins, Cooper. I think Cooper's still good enough, too, and even in a start 9 is flex-worthy consideration, if not your wide receiver 3, if that's how it's set up. CeeDee Lamb's awesome. Don't get me wrong. And I would rather have CeeDee Lamb over T. Higgins, though T. Higgins also gets disrespected quite a bit, too. And we just saw this last week. So if you're going to give me 3 pieces that are all pretty good and one of them really close to CeeDee Lamb, at least in dynasty value and actual production, well, you can have Romeo Doubs. Here you go. Thanks for the second. Thanks for Amari Cooper. I want that side.
Let me ask you this, Mike. What if that says Justin Jefferson?
Big difference, right? Massive difference.
You
Huge
taking that
difference.
side?
Gigantic difference, right? Then we're having a different conversation. Definitely.
So now my question is, because I agree, if it's Justin Jefferson, this is light, right?
Yeah.
Now, CeeDee Lamb is not Justin Jefferson, so I guess my question is, like, how far is he from Justin Jefferson? Is it close?
It's not very close.
Okay. I think there's a case now where CeeDee Lamb is becoming closer to Chase. I think that Chase is still ahead of him. I'd rather have Chase than Lamb, but like I think there's at least a discussion for those two being closer. This one, I'm gonna tell you what's very interesting about this to me. Like, I want Amari Cooper and T. Higgins in the second that I can play with later. The exception to this would be if I'm like just, man, even then I'm just thinking about this realistically. Like how goon squatted would I have to be to really want to go up to CeeDee Lamb? Like I'm gonna have to have too much. Yeah, exactly. Like there's probably teams where I would say, yeah, let me go pay up for CeeDee Lamb. The problem with this is, like, I would have to have, like, my team's got to be so deep. And the reason I say that is Amari Cooper for me is almost an auto start, even in lineup start 9. You know, like it's like T. Higgins, to your point, like the difference from T to CD is I'd be fine tearing up there as much as I'll defend T. Higgins. But when you're telling me I'm getting rid of a guy that I'm probably starting every single week, like my team better be so gooned up to do this trade.
We're gonna find out. I'm gonna pull this through the simulator and then just look at.
I knew you were gonna pull it up because I think
now you got me curious.
That's the only exception for me.
Camera shuts off and I get even more curious.
I love this. The curiosity that killed the McNutted.
Wow. Wow.
Is it that gooned?
No.
Okay.
No. Total Chaos Rev is about middle of the pack, right?
Okay.
Fringe playoff team. London Raider Nation's the one who's, number 2 in the league, like sitting up there. So just kind of shocking that I thought it'd be adverse.
Interesting. So London Raider Nation has a really good team and probably makes it better here.
Yeah.
For this year anyway, for sure.
Yeah, for this year, at least for one more.
I mean, Amari Cooper, can we talk about how Amari Cooper was supposedly on Sunday like not going to play, and he goes out there and plays like a heavy snap load.
Yeah.
And looked pretty good. So, yeah, I'm taking.
I think I tweeted that out too. For a guy who was questionable with a groin, he sure looks really fucking good out there.
And then now you're gonna have a short week going into this week, and I guarantee he's gonna play too. It's just that was wild, man. I'm already kind of thinking I want the Cooper and the Higgins side right now, man. And this is no shade to CD. This is just acknowledging these are two guys I'm gonna start in this format.
Right. What do we got here? Yeah, I would say in start 9, this isn't. Doubs is in a starting lineup.
Oh,
right?
For real?
After the trade. Like, that Goon Squad, no. Like,
okay, so and the other thing, too, is, Mike, I would say if you told me that this is not a Goon Squad, you're going to start Doubs, like, I already probably just want the 2, but then the second definitely shouldn't be coming over.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah,
I'm just – I think I want the London Raider Nation side. I understand wanting to go get your CD Lamb share, but I'll impeach you, man. I'll impeach you for this. I'm good. I'll take the Amari Cooper and T. Higgins side. Nothing personal, Total Chaos, but the way we play, that would not be the side we want. Let us know in the comments too if you think this is CD, anyone but Fizzle. Let us know because we'll take heed and we'll listen to you. So
I know my camera needs to cool off, right? Because it got too hot, but don't make me spit my water all over.
Sorry, man.
Everybody but Fizzle.
Because we know Fizzle's taking that CD side no matter what.
You
Love
just
you, Fizzle.
See Fizzle comments going to be Dynasty wide receiver 2.
Yeah.
You know it.
You already know what's coming, man. All right. Well, I thought that was a good trade show. A lot of good discussion. You guys gave me a really tough decision. It's between Puka and ARich, and you'll find out at the end of this video. You've already clicked on it, and but I don't know what I'm doing for a thumbnail yet.
Can you like morph them together? Like
AI type thing, like they're two, like it's Puka Nacua and ARich is a single body.
Puka
Are we talking?
Richardson, Anthony Nacua.
I like that. We call him ARich Nacua.
AR Nacua.
I like that.
Developed by AI.
I think. I'll say this. I think that I don't know which one I'm going to do. You'll find out. I might put both of them on there. But good discussions today, man. A lot of good actionable discussions, different league types. One of the things I love about the trade show is talking about trades in different lenses, even though there's a specific trade on the table, right? So yeah. I think a lot of these would have gone differently in different formats. For example, like that lineup start 9, that last one, that's basically showing you on the extreme side we want the package of players. So that means that package of players we're taking in lineup start 10, 11, all the way up, and in best ball we're absolutely taking it. So just things to keep in mind for the trade show. But I thought it was a really good one. Any thoughts from you?
No, just trying to get that third Puka Nacua deal done. And of course it's with Rip, which is impossible because he wants to nickel and dime everything you do. So
What did he counter with? Just give us that info.
He wants to add Michael Wilson.
Where are you at with that?
No, I'm good.
Oh, it's for Quentin Johnson? No, I wouldn't do that either.
Yeah, I'm good.
Michael Wilson's too decent of a piece, I think.
Right.
It's best ball. And best ball, we'll get down into the weeds well past Michael Wilson, man.
Yeah, we'll just take Michael Wilson out and we'll just send him back to the exact same trade, like establish the alpha.
Here, I have a counter for you. Here.
Same thing. Oh, that's all I got, man. Good trade show. Great
Love
trade
it,
show.
man.
Appreciate everybody tapping in.
Yeah, we appreciate everybody tapping in. If you could go down, hit the like, subscribe button. If you do want your deals featured on the show, you want us to kind of kill you like we did Total Chaos, or you want to kill Mike's camera, whatever the case may be, go hit up patreon.com/South Harmon. $5 a month, you get a chance to put your trades on the trade show, get your trade reviews by us, as well as plenty of other things, our rankings, this, that, and the other. Also, if you could hit the like, subscribe, go in the comments, let us know, if it's not CD Lamb, what it is on any one of these deals. Where are you at with Puka Nacua? And finally, make sure you're following our Twitter account, South Harmon FF. Fizzle is running that, and SouthHarmonFF.com if you want the warp tool. We'll see you back here, same time, same place next week. We're out of this thing. Peace.